Okay. I think we can go.
I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
here are our very first podcast.
that's right.
Although actually, no, it's not our very first. Right?
No, it's our first video.
It's our first video
podcast.
because we've had podcast people. Don't forget, people that are watching this have already familiar with our old podcasts.
A lot of them.
Which are audio. A lot
of
of them
them,
are.
yeah.
But we hope that people like it. I don't know what we're going to talk about. It's unscripted. We have hinted at each other what we might be talking about. We've done a little bit of that because we can't just come on totally cold.
Sure.
People should know kind of like where we're going to go with this because, you know, my work is mostly spiritual and, well, it's all spiritual, right? But, you know, we're going to touch on life. We're going to touch on health. We're going to touch on diet. We're going to touch on
society, politics.
We
We're going to talk about anything that we think is interesting.
Right. What do you want to talk about? Let's start going. Well, we were already going.
Okay. So we had a few topics that we wanted to discuss.
Sure.
Okay.
I learned something new this week from it was one of the videos I was watching. One of the I think it was Dr.
Bergman?
Berg.
Dr.
Berg. Yeah,
Berg's the more famous one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's the guy. He's
the Scientology guy.
He's the Scientology guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy with the son who hates him. Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw that. Anyway, so he was mentioning something. You know that I've had in rearranging my sleep patterns, going to bed earlier, right? I've been putting on a
face mask
or an eye mask, whatever they call it, to stimulate melatonin.
Yes.
Rather than take melatonin supplements. So rather, you know, your body.
Did
makes
you
its
order
own.
a new one of those, or do you
I
still
did.
use?
I have it right here.
Okay. And do you want to tell people why you ordered a new one? Why you had to replace your old one?
Why did I order? Why did I?
You
ordered,
yeah. You ordered a new face mask because you took your old one and you draped it over a lamp that was on and that was hot.
And it melted.
It basically was about 20 seconds away from catching on fire.
Yeah.
And it completely melted. And I smelled burning plastic and I snooped around and I found it smoldering. So
I had to get a new one, right? So this is my new one. But well, there's our thumbnail. All right, so
maybe.
But I found that there's this condition called, I wrote it down because it's hard to pronounce. It's hard to remember. Respiratory alkalosis. Have you ever heard of respiratory alkalosis?
No.
Okay. Respiratory alkalosis apparently can affect your sleeping. So what happens apparently is when you're sleeping, you get acid reflux, right? And then and you clear your throat a lot in your sleep, right? So, and if you do that, you start to go like this, and then you basically hyperventilate. And then you hyperventilate while you're sleeping, and you send all this oxygen to your brain, and it prevents you from having a good night's sleep.
Well, as you know, I tend to go to bed later and then wake up later.
Right.
Usually I stay up.
Oh, it's ridiculous. You have like college, you've carried your college habits.
No, I really haven't. I got rid of that, but then it came back, especially when I was doing a lot of coding. It was easy to kind of your brain chemistry changes at night, and you go into different modes of creativity. And I would get ideas, and I'd want to do things, and that's been it's been bad for my circadian rhythm.
Right.
So I saw a video from Huberman that I saw. It was like a YouTube short. Here, let's see if we can see it. Let's see if we hear it.
Sunlight, exercise, caffeine and eating, and social interactions bring your circadian clock into alignment with all of those Zeitgebers. So when I said it takes 3 days,
what's a Zeitgeber?
If tomorrow you want to start beginning the process of becoming an early riser, you'd set your alarm for 5 a.m. No matter what time you went to sleep the night before, you're going to get up and you're going to do the 4 things that I described.
Sidney Zeitgeber. I remember him from the Bronx.
Zeitgeber. So sunlight, exercise, social interaction, and food, right? I think those are the things he said.
Yeah.
So I usually skip breakfast. I started, and he says after 3 days of basically hell, if you can do those things in the morning, you'll just naturally go to bed earlier and you'll wake up before your alarm even goes off.
So where's the hell? What are they? All these things are hell?
No, the hell is you're not going to get enough sleep at first.
Oh, I see.
You're going to be miserable.
Oh, sleep deprivation.
Well, no. Well, yeah, but yes, the fact is because it's going to be hard for you to go to bed early and you're going to wake up anyway.
Right.
So I started doing that. I didn't go super dramatic like 6 a.m. or anything like that. What is a Zeitgeber anyway? Let's see. Zeitgeber. A rhythmically occurring natural phenomenon which acts as a cue in the regulation of the body's circadian rhythms. Okay, so those things are they trigger your circadian rhythm to move. So, so I've successfully adjusted my circadian rhythm.
Yeah, I think I had told you that I've been lowering my temperature at night because I was watching that.
What does that mean? You've been cryogenically freezing yourself?
No, I mean in the room.
You've been lowering the room temperature.
Yeah, I think I was watching one of those. I think it was Matthew Walker.
Okay,
he was talking about lower, or maybe it was Huberman. It was one of those influencers. I was watching them, and they're talking about lowering the room temperature at night. You sleep better, and I did. And I found out that I bought a new mattress.
Okay,
which I hate. I can't stand it.
Really?
I don't like it.
It was expensive.
It was super expensive, and it's really hard too.
Oh.
Okay, but it's got this memory foam thing in it, like this layer of foam. I haven't bought a new mattress in years. This is this is the new technology, right? And it's got, and you can't get rid of it. So when you lay there, you create an imprint, and you can't roll out of it. So like I can't sleep 2 inches over from where I just was, which I want to do because I want nice cool mattress now, and that's all heated. That
is a perfect segue into this YouTube short I'm showing you right now. Ready?
All right.
That show's upside down. Oh, nice. Still alive. Ah. I need help. Come back.
It's a sea turtle, and he's stuck.
Stand back, Isla.
Yeah, that's me.
He's stuck. So that's you in your mattress. Isn't that cool, though?
So what are they doing?
They found a sea turtle, and he's alive, but he's stuck on his back, and they flip him back over. He's huge. Look how big he is.
Oh my God.
So they found him, and they're going to send him back in the ocean.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then he wants to go. He's like, oh, get me out of here.
Oh, is somebody waiting for him?
Yeah, his buddy's like, oh, man.
That was lucky, hey.
I told you not to go up there.
Gone. That show's upside down.
That's crazy.
I mean, that turtle would have died.
So that's like me.
So that's you and your mattress.
Yeah, the problem, no. Well, the problem is...
And mom comes and flips you over.
No. So the problem is that when you're laying there, the mattress is heating up. And then...
Okay.
So when naturally...
From your body heat.
Yeah, and I've never liked that. I've never liked that. So I always switch positions to get cooler. And then, then that gets hot, and I flip over back up. You can't do that with one of these. You have to sit there in this hot hole.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, something I wanted to talk about was Greenland.
Okay.
Why are we, the United States, all of a sudden going after Greenland? And there's obviously been a push to go after Greenland because not only has Donald Trump come out and said he's interested in Greenland, but which, by the way, he said like 5-6 years ago too, while he was president.
Yeah, I remember that.
But all the surrogates are now, they're big on Greenland. They're all in with Greenland. They're basically convincing the base that getting Greenland is like the new big cool thing.
Yeah.
So they want the public on their side with this too.
Right.
So it must be a real thing that we're doing.
It is a real thing.
And I was thinking about the reasons we want Greenland. And I was thinking about, there's this idea that we're taught in schools. I experienced it, especially in public school, not really in private school when I went to Catholic school for the rest of my high school. But for the rest of my time at high school. But this idea that America's been really bad and we're so big and powerful and we don't deserve to be. So this idea of making partnerships with other countries or owning territories is really frowned upon. It's really seen as negative. So I posted a video about it online. I posted a TikTok. Okay. And by the way, for the people listening, I totally think TikTok is probably spyware and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, everybody knows it.
It's a brainwashing device. And if you're 14 and you have unlimited time on TikTok, you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. So, but anyway, but it's important for reaching people is the thing. We're trying to reach people, and that's the way to reach it. Jordan Peterson had an explanation on that, right? Somebody asked him or something like that. Why are you on TikTok? If you know you're a psychologist and you know the damage this is doing, and he's saying, listen, I'm trying to wake people up. And that's where people are. So you got to go where people are if you want to help them. So anyway, all the comments I got are people with that exact mindset saying like, this is imperialism, this is colonialism. Oh, you just take what you want, don't you, America?
Are these American respondees? Or?
You know, some of them are American, I think. Some of them are obviously not American, but there are these self-loathing Americans,
right?
Which is so dumb. I mean, the fact is, Greenland, it isn't a free territory. It's owned by Denmark.
Right, it is.
And
it's not a country. We're not invading a country.
They don't particularly want to be owned by Denmark either. So,
well, you know what I don't like? I don't like on this story, I just want to add that they talk about buying Greenland. You can't buy Greenland.
Yes, you can. Of course you can buy Greenland.
They would have to have an owner.
They do. That's what I just said.
Yeah, but
they're owned by Denmark. Denmark owns them. We're going to buy it from Denmark, and then we own Greenland.
I'm questioning whether the word own is really, isn't it just a territory? I mean, ownership.
Hell yeah. It's owned by Denmark, and we're going to own it. We're going to buy it from Denmark. 100%. Just like Alaska. We bought Alaska.
I know, but...
We bought Alaska. We bought Louisiana.
I know, but Greenland could succeed from Denmark because they have that self-determination thing.
Actually, I think they voted for... freedom at one point or something, like they had their own internal vote.
Yeah.
And I think Denmark denied them.
See, they can't do that. So
of course they can.
Denmark is the I know, but then
Denmark owns Greenland. That's how it is. Sorry, they're not their own sovereign nation.
But Greenland can decide that they are no longer owned by Denmark.
No.
Well, that's not my understanding.
That's not.
Well, then they need to be safe. If that's true, I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm an American, so I naturally just think that way. I just think that, no, we do what the hell we want.
That's called a war. They would have to go to war.
Yeah, well, that's how we exist because of that attitude.
Right. I'm just saying you're going outside the rule of law when you're doing that. You're saying, okay, well, actually, we're going to be free now. The person who owns you says, no, you're not. And then you fight for it. Hopefully that won't happen. But anyway.
You mean we could end up actually funding Greenland's war against Denmark the way we're doing for the Ukraine?
No, it's going to be totally peaceful. It's going to be, we're going to purchase Greenland, which is a territory owned by Denmark from Denmark. Then we're going to own it. That's how it's going to work. I think the citizens will be better off. The thing is, Denmark doesn't really even let them use their natural resources. They have a lot of natural resources,
right? And
they have rare earth minerals.
Right.
They have lithium. Right.
Right.
And I think they have oil. I'm not sure if they have oil.
They do have oil. I think most of their oil is probably offshore.
Okay.
Probably surrounding Greenland, but it counts.
Okay. So I was looking at this. Here's the reason we need Greenland is, and this is true with lithium too, but rare earth minerals, for example, China owns 80% they control 80% of the world's rare earth mineral supply, around 80%.
Including lithium?
Well, lithium's not a rare earth mineral.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, nobody knows the exact percentages because we find more places. Same with oil. It's like the oil reserves will run out in 2000 whatever, and then oh no, we found more oil.
Yeah.
So that happens all the time. But they own like 70% of production or control, and they control all the processing too. So we have mines here. We have one mine called I think it's called MP Minerals or something. And MP Minerals is, or Materials something. It's a U.S. company and it mines here, but then it sends what it mines to China for processing. So just in the past year or two, we've started actually refining our own stuff. So because we've been mining and we send it to China because they're the ones with the refinement technology.
Right.
So we're finally getting a hold on that. But Greenland, so China controls like 80%. Greenland has like 10% of the world's supply estimated. So if we could get Greenland, we're controlling half of what's left.
Right.
So we're basically just like trying to get a foothold here in order to compete with China. Because if China is able to just completely control the rare earth mineral market, we're completely at their mercy for anything.
Sure.
Right. I mean, we need that for lithium too, right? Lithium for the batteries. And then rare earth minerals, we need those for computer chips and stuff like that.
Sure.
So
it's pretty amazing. Yeah, China's not going to like if we wind up buying.
No, they won't like that.
No,
they won't like that at all. Let's see.
But the thing is, it is good for the oil also because I looked up what the production is. I don't have the exact numbers in my head, but like the oil that the reserves that they have now are comparable to like what we have like in our Gulf. And,
Who? Greenland?
Greenland, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably more. I mean, like you say, they always find more.
So this was a U.S. special report. U.S. begins...
The Gulf of America, by the way.
U.S. begins foraging rare earth supply chain. And what they say here is, as I just said, so even over the last 3 decades, Beijing has held an iron grip on the world supply for rare earth elements, such as nearly all materials, no matter where in the world they are mined, travel to China for refinement before they can be used in technologies. So we mine them. It's like, oh, great, we're mining our own now. And then we send them all to China.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Totally crazy.
So I think we've started refining our own.
Right.
I know Trump had an executive order in 2020 about researching and funding our own mining companies.
Right.
I think the Biden administration did a little bit of investment into that too. And this MP Materials or MP, what is it called? MP Minerals? It's called MP Materials is trying to undo this sort of trend of Chinese dominance in mining.
Now, who is MP Materials?
It's an American company.
It's a U.S. corporation.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think this industry is so heavily regulated that they need permission from the government to do this sort of stuff in the first place, which is just red tape that holds us back again.
Right.
But yeah, so I think we need Greenland for that.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Let's see. Let's jump around a bit. I was going to ask you about Mexican Coke.
Okay. I never tried it.
You never tried Mexican Coke? Really?
No, most of the stuff I used to get from South America.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're okay. You're
yeah.
making a
No,
joke
Mexican Coke. Oh, yeah. Okay. The sugar.
Yeah. So Mexican Coke has Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I saw something is controversial about that. I'm not sure exactly what.
So Mexican Coke, the whole thing about it is it's made with sucrose,
right,
instead of high fructose corn syrup.
And that's supposed to be a good thing.
It's supposed to be natural. It's supposed to be like, oh, it's actual cane sugar, which is sucrose.
Right.
But the thing is, when you measure how much fructose and glucose is in Mexican Coca-Cola, there's a ton.
Yeah.
So people are saying, well, it's a lie. Right. It's not sucrose.
Right.
Well, what it is the sucrose breaks down into fructose and glucose.
In the bottle.
Because it's an acidic drink.
Right.
And acid breaks that down. And apparently it only has like a 3-week half-life.
So they put in the good stuff and it turns into the bad stuff?
Yeah. So people are saying the whole reason to drink it
is gone.
Doesn't even exist. So I don't remember what the difference between these sugars are. I don't know which one is supposed to be good for you and which one isn't exactly.
No sugar is good for you.
Okay.
I mean, your body makes its own glucose. That's
your body makes its own glucose?
Yeah.
Right. From what, starch?
Yeah.
That kind of thing?
I think it's the fructose is not good for you, even though it doesn't raise your glycemic index. People like that.
Okay.
But I believe it also contributes toward what they call insulin resistance, which is a precursor to prediabetes and then diabetes. So basically it's destroying your system, even though people think that it's probably healthier for you than glucose or sucrose, but it's not.
I think your body breaks the sucrose down into fructose and glucose.
Well, the whole thing is the fructose that gets processed, it doesn't get processed the same way that the glucose gets processed. It gets processed by your liver only. And because your liver is the only thing that can break down fructose for some reason, I don't know why. And that's why you get a fatty liver. People get fatty livers. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to have like a sweet tooth. And
when you were a kid, you have a sweet tooth now.
Not really.
So do I.
I know, but it's not a sweet. Everybody has a sweet tooth. What I'm talking about, I'm talking about an insatiable craving for sweets that you just can't resist. You know what I mean? And that always you. If you're not conscious, if you're not awake, you're not going to be able to control that. You're not going to be able to control your cravings for sugars. You're not going to be able to control the craving for physical craving. I mean,
right,
for carbs. You're just not going to be able to.
If you are experiencing the pain of resentment,
right,
you're going to need
some
sort of relief.
You're going to need some kind of relief.
Yeah,
you could do that. You could also vodka works. You know,
I guess. I've never had it.
you've never had it. That's true. But I've had it, quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm way off it now, as you know.
Uh-huh.
So when you're awake and when you're aware, these things don't hit you as hard. You can control them. If you get a craving for, everybody likes pleasure. I mean, we don't, when you wake up, you don't become this, this dull person. You like to laugh. You like to eat. You like food. You enjoy life, but it doesn't control you. You're not compelled. You don't obsess for it. You don't obsess for the relief all the time because you don't have the guilt. You don't have the pain. You don't have the natural pain that comes from being judgmental and judging everybody, playing God essentially.
Right.
And that's what anger is. Anger is the emotion that stirs up from when you get resentful and you start playing God. And that sort of stuff goes away. So
you won't have the spiritual need for the relief that the pleasure from
fructose and sucrose and glucose. And
I remember I told you the other day, you gave me some pieces of chocolate, some leftover chocolate, what baking chocolate, I guess.
Yeah.
And I ate it. And it's like I can literally feel my brain. I can feel the dopamine just being pumped into. I'm like, oh my God,
Honestly.
this is so good. It literally is like a drug.
Yeah.
It's crazy how good it is.
I forget what the product was. It was either something we had baked at home.
Okay.
And Kristen had made something. I forget what it was. But she made it and it was sweetened with xylitol or stevia and xylitol. I don't know what it was, but it didn't have sugar in it. And I tasted it, and it's like, oh, this is sweet. This doesn't, there was something missing.
Yeah, it didn't have the same effect.
It didn't light up. It didn't trigger all the,
Right. The taste buds recognize it as sweet.
Yeah, oh yeah, your taste buds go, oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that's just as sweet as sugar.
Yeah, it doesn't do the same chemical thing to your brain.
There's definitely some. So it's the need for that is a problem with people who can't stay away from sweets, who tend to overeat. I'm a person I've abused food in my past. I don't now, but I did. I was a chubby kid, so I know what
I got fat in college. I didn't realize it.
I would not call you fat.
When I realized I was fat was people who like to be fit call themselves fat when they gain like 15, 20 pounds.
I know.
Whereas people who are really big, that's fat.
Yeah.
But so it's like, I was skinny and I slowly over the course of about 6 months gained 15 pounds or so, 20 pounds I was working out a bit.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just like, oh, I'm putting on muscle.
Right.
I didn't realize that when you work out, you don't put on that many pounds of muscle. You're putting on a lot of fat.
Yeah.
And I wasn't working out enough to be putting on as much fat as I was.
Right.
So I was just getting fat.
I remember going to the doctor one time and I was complaining about, my weight. I want to drop a few pounds, whatever. And I saw the report, and the report was, what was the purpose of my visit? And they put obesity. And I'm like, what?
What's the purpose?
What is
obesity?
The purpose? Obesity. Oh my God. I'm morbidly obese.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it was kind of a shocker. And I was like, no, I'm only like 20 pounds overweight. But, the main thing for me, I've been ranting about glyphosates for the past couple of years, as you know.
Yeah.
Because glyphosate it turns out it's so bad for you. It's even worse than people think, and people aren't even talking about it.
Glyphosate is an herbicide, a pesticide. Is it a pesticide or an herbicide?
Herbicide, I believe.
Herbicide.
Yeah, it's an herbicide.
So they spray all the food with the Monsanto.
Right. Monsanto had this PR stunt where they had the CEO of Monsanto or one of the high executives just like, take a glass full of glyphosate and like drink it in front of at a convention or something.
Right, to show that it's not harmful.
Yeah, it's not harmful. And then he died 2 days later.
No, he didn't die.
No, he didn't die.
No, but he probably destroyed his gut biome.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely he did. Absolutely he did.
He probably wiped out everything
Absolutely. Well, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
So we could talk about that in the future. But
it kills the bacteria in your gut.
Well, yeah, because
you need that.
I guess it was the 70s, they applied for the patent for, Monsanto did, apply for the patent for glyphosate. Roundup, right? That was the
Roundup.
Name. That's the marketing name. But they got the patent because it's this great herbicide. So everybody knows that story. You can go online and find out about it, right? So, but what they most recently applied for, and I think it was only in the 90s. I'm not sure. We could look it up. But in the 90s, they applied for a new patent on it because apparently it's also this fabulous antibiotic. Okay. So that means that it kills, it's like taking antibiotics. So when you eat something that's treated with glyphosate, which is virtually nearly everything you eat that's grown, anything that's wheat-based, all wheat, corn.
Unless it's organic.
Unless it's organic.
Right.
So the thing is, when you kill your microbiome.
Microbiome? Microbiome.
Hey, microbiome.
Your microbiome, yes. Your gut bacteria, microbiome, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, what are you doing to my microbiome?
Hey.
I don't know if you're doing a mobster or Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
When you kill your microbiome.
When you kill your microbiome. You kill your, I don't want to go into the whole thing, but it's not good for you. You don't digest.
Right.
You don't absorb nutrients properly. You don't absorb minerals properly. It can lead to all sorts of things, vitamin deficiencies and everything else. Trace minerals you're not doing. So you have to repair that, which I did repair in my case. But anyway, one of my kicks is I like to sort of reproduce like fast foods. But in a healthy way.
Healthy fast food.
I think it's easy to do. So I made healthy fish and chips. That's fish and chips.
Ah, there you go.
Right?
Okay.
So that's healthy fish and chips.
Yeah.
That is codfish that I fried. I didn't deep fry it, but I fried it in beef tallow.
Interesting.
And the breading is made from organic flour.
And what's that sauce? That's your cocktail sauce?
Oh yeah, it's just cocktail sauce.
I like tartar sauce.
I know you do.
You're missing tartar
I
sauce.
make my own mayonnaise too.
You need tartar sauce.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I went around in I think 2020 or 2021 to a bunch of restaurants on the Cape throughout the summer.
Yeah.
And at one point I was off Cape with a friend and we went to a place in Plymouth, and I won't say the name of the place, but it was a seafood restaurant. It had great reviews and they had fish and chips online on their online menu. And I go in and we're sitting there and I'm looking at the menu, and the first thing I know is I'm looking at the menu and there's no fish and chips on the menu.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I talked to the waitress and I said, it says fish and chips online. I said, do you do fish and chips?
Yeah.
So if I ordered online, like a DoorDash type thing,
right,
I'd be getting it. So she's like, oh yeah, we can do fish and chips. Yeah, we do fish and chips.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's not on your menu.
Yeah.
So I order it.
We'll try.
Yeah, basically, it's like, oh, well, yeah, I think we can handle that. Okay, so I ordered fish and chips, and the fish and chips comes out, and it's these little chunks. Like those look pretty big, right? Probably about a third the size of those fish and chips. Each one.
Well,
each one is about a third that size, and they're breaded, and I taste them, and they're so obviously frozen fish and chips. It was like eating what's that one with the Gordon's fisherman? So it's like I'm eating Gordon's fisherman fish chips, and the fries were all limp and oily. It was the worst fish and chips I've ever had.
Probably
such
fried
a
in
bad
some
experience.
old vat of.
It wasn't. You could tell the oil wasn't hot either. Probably.
Problem is that's not fish and chips. That's just fish.
That is just fish.
Yeah.
You need chips.
Yeah. So I should take a look at the new one I just sent you. Because our British friends will be very upset that I'm showing fish with no chips.
Okay.
Or no mushy peas either.
Mushy peas. Ugh.
So this one here.
There's no fish. There's no chips.
There's no chips, but it's closer because there's onion rings.
Okay. There's also one onion ring from hell there I'm looking at. I don't know about that one. that one doesn't look good at all.
That got a little overdone.
These onion rings look like somebody who's trying to figure out how to make onion rings.
All right.
Okay.
So this is part of my experimentation, but they were delicious and they were organic and they were great. And that's homemade coleslaw that I also made there from organic cabbage.
And no tartar sauce.
No tartar sauce. All right.
All right. I think we're good for now.
You think we're good for now?
Yeah, I think that's it for today.
Okay.
Okay.
So this was our first.
This was our first experiment.
First experimental podcast. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.